Ever see those videos of tiny, colorful shrimp zipping around an aquarium and think, I want that? But then fear kicks in, right? You get mesmerized by those little colorful critters, but then you start worrying about making some expensive mistake and wiping out your first colony. Trust me, you're not alone. The world of dwarf shrimp is amazing, but it can feel a little intimidating at first. Well, in this video, we're going to break it all down. I'm going to be your guide through a living rainbow of awesome, and most importantly, tough little shrimp that are absolutely perfect if you're just starting out. My goal is simple. By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly which shrimp are right for you, and you'll have all the info you need to make sure they don't just survive, they have an amazing life in your tank. Let's turn that fear into fun and your empty tank into a busy, colorful world. We're going to kick things off by exploring several of the colors you can get in the beginner-friendly Neocaridina family. These aren't super delicate, experts-only shrimp you might have heard horror stories about. These guys are troopers of the shrimp world. They're adaptable, they're forgiving, they're the perfect place to start. I've spent years raising these little critters, and I'm going to share everything I've learned so you can have the success right from the get-go. So let's meet the shrimp. First up, the absolute icon, the shrimp that got so many of us hooked, the red cherry shrimp. There's a good reason they're so popular. They're pretty much the most popular of all the color types, known for rolling with the punches in a wide range of water conditions. This makes them super forgiving while you're still figuring things out with your water chemistry. Their color is brilliant, red that goes from sort of a see-through cherry color in the standard grade all the way to a solid, painted on fire engine red in the higher grades like fire red or painted fire red. What I love about cherry shrimp is just how busy they are. A whole colony creates constant motion in the tank as they are endlessly searching for snacks, exploring plants, and bumping into each other. They also breed like crazy, so if your goal is to grow a big colony from just a small group, you'll be seeing tiny baby shrimplets in no time once they get comfortable. If you want the single, best, most reliable starting point, you really can't go wrong with red cherry shrimp. If you're after a color that's both deep and calming, let me introduce you to the blue dream shrimp. These shrimp rock this incredible, deep, solid blue that looks absolutely killer against green plants or dark gravel, even light gravel. I just love blues. Unlike some other blue types that can look a little patchy, a good quality blue dream is a consistent velvet blue from head to tail. They're a fantastic choice if you want to create a really dramatic and beautiful tank. They are still a hardy Neocaridina and great for beginners. They breed well, and their amazing blue color means you'll have no trouble spotting them. They just bring this cool, peaceful vibe that's tough to beat. For a little pop of pure sunshine in your aquarium, you have to check out the yellow goldenback shrimp. These guys have a super bright, happy yellow color that just lights up a tank. Sometimes people call them yellow 24K. What makes the goldenback so cool is the bright, solid yellow stripe that runs right down their back. This stripe is often an even more intense, almost neon yellow, which looks awesome against their already bright body. Like other Neos, they're active, easy to care for, and always munching on biofilm and algae. They're awesome for adding a high contrast color to a tank, especially if you have dark colored wood or rocks. Watching a group of them buzz around green plants is like having a little slice of summer in your house all year. They're just as tough as most other Neos, and are a super popular choice for new hobbyists. If red feels a little too common, and yellow, well, maybe it's a bit too much, then the perfect sweet spot might be the sun-kissed orange shrimp, sometimes called orange pumpkin, orange sakura, or even just orange Neos. This variety has a warm, punchy orange color that's just really appealing. It's a very stable color too, meaning you won't see a ton of difference between shrimp, which is great if you want a nice uniform look for your colony. Their care is identical to red cherries, or for that matter, any other Neocaridina shrimp, making them another super hardy top tier choice for beginners. They breed well and are always on the move, adding a ton of life and a pretty unique color to the tank. That orange just pops under good aquarium lighting, and it almost looks like it's glowing. If you want to splash a color that's different, but still bulletproof, the sun-kissed orange is a fantastic pick. Okay, so you might be thinking, this just looks like a fancy red cherry. But there's a really cool and important difference. While a red cherry shrimp has a red shell over a clear flesh, the Bloody Mary has a clear shell over deep red and flesh and tissue. This key difference, which comes from being bred from a totally different line of shrimp, they're completely different than reds, is what gives the Bloody Mary that crazy, deep, intense, almost glowing red color. I like to say, a nice Bloody Mary in a good light looks like a shiny red sports car. This internal color gives them a unique, glassy look that's truly stunning. While they're just as easy to keep as other Neos in a stable tank, they are considered a premium shrimp and the price usually reflects that. For the person who wants the absolute richest, deepest red you can get, the Bloody Mary is the holy grail. For anyone who loves a more subtle, natural look, the green Jade shrimp is an amazing choice. Their color can be anything from a light olive green to a deep, dark jade. This is a shrimp whose color often gets better with age in a happy, established tank with a dark substrate. Their unique green color makes them a real conversation starter. While they are a hardy Neo, just like any other Neo, getting them to show off their best, deepest green can sometimes be a little trickier than with reds or yellows. The green color can be a bit unstable, so it does take some work to keep the very best green color. But because it is a bit of a challenge, a tank full of beautiful green shrimp is just that much more rewarding. They might not pop like a fire red shrimp, but their earthy, gem-like color looks incredible in a tank full of lush plants. If you're going for a bold, high contrast look, the Snowball Shrimp is your answer. These shrimp are a beautiful, clean, milky white color. They actually get their name from their eggs, which are also white, making a female carrying eggs looks like she's holding tiny snowballs under her tail. They're incredibly useful for design. Putting them in a tank with black sand or gravel creates this awesome black and white look. Very high contrast. They are just as hardy and easy to care for as their colorful cousins and offer a unique look that can either be a statement on its own or make other colors pop. Finally, we've got the Rili Shrimp, which isn't just one color but a pattern. The Rili Shrimp has color on its head and tail with a clear see-through band in the middle of its body. Sometimes you could even get blue middles on their body. This wild pattern comes in almost every color you can think of: red Rili, blue Rili, carbon Rili, which is black, and green Rili, and all the other ones too. The appeal of the Rili is its striking, unconventional look. It breaks up the solid block of color and adds a cool, detailed pattern to your shrimp crew. They are the result of some careful breeding and bring a real designer feel to the tank. Care-wise, they're just as easy to care for as any other Neocaridina. They do great under the same conditions, are an awesome way to bring patterns, not just colors, into your underwater world. Now, those are just some of the more popular colors, but there are many more others too, and we'll cover some of those in the rest of this video. But one thing is common. All these shrimp are Neocaridina shrimp, and they all have the exact same care, and they all will breed together and all that. So just keep that in mind. The only difference is the color. It's kind of like a guppy is a guppy, but there's all kinds of different colors of guppies. Same with Neocaridina shrimp. They're all Neocaridina shrimp. They're just different colors. Now that you've seen the rainbow of options, you're probably asking the big question. Okay, but how do I keep them alive? This is what we're going to cover right now. This is your game plan for success. And the best part, the care for every single shrimp we looked at is pretty much exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Master this stuff and you can keep any of them. The foundation for a happy shrimp colony is the aquarium itself. Getting this right from day one will save you a ton of headaches later. First is tank size. You might see those tiny little desktop tanks sold for shrimp, but I really recommend starting with a minimum of 10 gallons just to start off. Now, those little ones are good when you get more experience, but here's why you need to start off with something bigger. In a smaller tank, the water chemistry can change in a flash. A small oops, like dropping in a little too much food, can cause a dangerous ammonia spike. Way faster in a 3-gallon tank than in a 10-gallon tank. More water means more stability, which is the #1 most important thing for shrimp health. Next, and this is completely non-negotiable, you need a mature aquarium. You should never ever add shrimp to a brand new tank. A mature tank is one that's been fully cycled, meaning it has a healthy colony of good bacteria to process waste. But for shrimp, mature also means the tank has had time to grow a nice layer of biofilm. This incredible layer of gunk, all the good stuff like algae and microorganisms, is basically an all-you-can-eat buffet for your shrimp, especially the babies. Your tank should be set up and running for at least a month, maybe even 2, before any shrimp go in. For substrate, keep it simple. You want something inert, which is just a fancy way of saying it won't mess with your water chemistry. Stuff like pool filter sand or basic aquarium gravel is perfect. I highly recommend using a dark colored substrate like black sand. I like to use black diamond blusting sand, but you gotta make sure you rinse that stuff really good. A dark background makes the shrimp's colors pop like crazy and can even encourage them to develop deeper colors as they try to blend in. Finally, filtration. When it comes to filters, the sponge filter is the king. Seriously, sponge filters are gentle and don't have intakes that can suck up and hurt tiny shrimp, especially the microscopic babies. They're really teeny tiny. Plus, the giant surface area of the sponge becomes a 5-star restaurant for your shrimp. There's always shrimp on the sponge filters. For a huge amount of that biofilm, they live to graze on 24/7. If you use a different type of filter like a hang-on back, you absolutely have to cover the intake with a pre-filter sponge to make it shrimp safe. Now let's talk about water parameters, the invisible key to health. This is the part that scares a lot of beginners, but it doesn't have to be a nightmare. The most important thing to remember, and this is key, is that consistency is way more important than chasing perfect numbers. Shrimp hate sudden changes. You're better off just to be a little bit off, or even quite a bit off even. Cherry shrimp are very forgiving. But what you gotta do is once you have them in a certain situation, they need to stay the same. Let's start with the easy one first. That's temperature. Neos are pretty adaptable and can live in temps from 65 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. They can go even way cooler and way warmer. However, the sweet spot for them to be really happy, breed, and show their best colors is between 70 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 21 to 26 degrees Celsius. A stable temperature is key. Now for the big 3 that directly affect a shrimp's ability to molt and thrive: pH, GH, and KH. pH is just a measure of how acidic or alkaline your water is. Neocaridinas are happy anywhere from a pH of 6.5 to 8. They can even go a little bit above 8. So they're very adaptable. What's important is, again, keeping it the same. GH, or general hardness, is probably the most critical parameter for shrimp when it comes to molting. It measures the amount of minerals in the water like calcium and magnesium, which shrimp need to build their shells. If GH is too low, their new shell will be too soft. If it's too high, the shell can be too hard for them to break out of. The ideal range is between 6 and 12 DGH. That's drops to turn the color in your test. If your shrimp are failing to molt, which often looks like a white ring of death around their body, improper GH is almost always the reason. Or it could be the GH changed too much. Again, we're back to stability being more important than anything. Lastly, you have your standard nitrogen cycle stuff. Just like fish, ammonium nitrite must always be 0. They are incredibly toxic to shrimp. Nitrate should be kept as low as possible, ideally under 20 parts per million, by doing regular water changes. To keep an eye on all of this, you need a liquid test kit, specifically an Aquarium Master test kit with a separate GH/KH test kit. How you decorate your tank isn't just about making it look pretty. It's about creating a safe and enriching home for your shrimp. The most important thing you can add is live plants. Plants are a shrimp's best friend. They provide tons of surface area for biofilm to grow on, which is their main food source. They offer endless hiding spots, which shrimp need to feel safe, especially after they molt and are all soft and vulnerable. Plants also keep the water clean by sucking up nitrates. Easy plants are perfect. Moss is a classic, creating a dense jungle for baby shrimp to hide and eat in. Other great choices are Java fern, Anubias, Bucephalandria, and floating plants like frogbit that provide shade. So let's talk about feeding your colorful shrimp. In a mature planted tank, shrimp can get a lot of their food just from the environment by grazing all day. But to make sure they get everything they need for the best color, strong shells, and successful breeding, you should give them some supplemental food. Shrimp are scavengers, so variety is key. So they will eat just about anything. The most important thing to remember with feeding your shrimp is to not feed too much. Feeding too much is one of the biggest shrimp killers. They are little and graze all day on biofilm in the tank. They really don't need that much extra food. If you're getting some real value from this guide and you want to see more deep dives into the aquarium hobby, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel get out to more people like you. And let me know down in the comments which one of these colors you're thinking about getting. Red cherry, blue dream, or maybe something cool like a green jade. I love to hear what you're planning. Let's talk about critical moments in your shrimp's life. There are 2 times when your shrimp are at their most vulnerable: when they're molting and when you first bring them home. The molting process. For a shrimp to grow, it has to shed its old, tight shell. During this process, they're super soft and vulnerable, so they'll usually hide for a day or so. You'll know they had a successful molt when you see a perfect little ghost shrimp-looking shell lying on the bottom. Definitely leave that in there. The shrimp will eat it to get back all that valuable calcium and minerals. As I mentioned, failed molts are almost always tied to your GH level being wrong or unstable. Usually it's because it's unstable. Keeping those minerals consistent is the key. The acclimation process. Whatever you do, don't just dump the shrimp from the bag into your tank. The water from the store is different from your water, and the sudden shock can kill them. The best way to introduce new shrimp is through drip acclimation. This is a slow, gentle process where you mix your tank water with their bag water for over an hour or 2. You can do this with a piece of airline tubing tied in a loose knot to create a slow drip, siphoning water from your tank into a bucket with the shrimp in their original water. Once you have at least doubled or tripled the amount of water in the bucket, you can net the shrimp out and place them in their new home. Never, ever pour the store's bag into your aquarium. You don't know what's in that water. Could be some bad stuff in there that you don't want in your tank. So let's talk about choosing friends, not foes. When it comes to tank mates, the rule is simple. If a fish's mouth is big enough to fit a shrimp, it will eventually eat a shrimp. Pretty much guaranteed. This is especially true for tiny, defenseless babies. Honestly, the absolute best tank for Neocaridina shrimp, especially if you want them to breed, is a shrimp-only tank. If you're really set on having fish, your options are super limited. Tiny, peaceful nanofish like autosynclus catfish or certain small rasboras might work in a tank with tons of plants, but there's still a chance they'll pick off the babies. Snails are generally safe tank mates. Just avoid all cichlids, bettas, gouramis, angelfish, or any fish of a decent size or predatory in nature. They will see your beautiful shrimp as a very expensive snack. Bristlenose plecos are my personal favorite, and I have found them to be 100% shrimp safe. Even though they get big, they don't really eat them with their sucker mouths. Their only drawback is that they really need a bigger tank. You really need at least 20 gallons for bristlenose plecos. All right, that's the full rundown. From the classic red cherry to the stunning blue dream and all the colors in between. Neocaridina shrimp are a fantastic and totally doable way to get into keeping shrimp. We've seen that while they look very different, what they need to thrive is exactly the same. The secret sauce isn't really a secret at all. It's just patience and stability. It's taking the time to set up a mature planted tank. It's understanding and keeping those water parameters stable, especially GH and KH, to keep them healthy and molting properly, and it's giving them a safe place to live with a good diet. Don't be overwhelmed. With the info you have now, you're ready to start your own thriving colony. Pick a color that you love. Follow these steps, and you'll be rewarded with a mesmerizing little world that brings endless fun and a huge splash of color to your home. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more detailed guides on shrimp keeping and planted tanks, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Happy shrimp keeping, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.